Hey guys, Crystal here at Crystal's Crafties. Today's tutorial I'm going to show you how to design a 3D cake topper. I designed this in Inkscape and then I saved it as an SVG and I put it over into Cricut Design Space so I could cut it all out with my Cricut. Just like most of my tutorials, what I wanted to do was not something that could be done in Design Space, so I had to hop over to Inkscape. I have a link for the download if you need to download Inkscape. It's free. And so let's just jump right in. Okay, so here is the overall cake topper design. It has 1, 2, 3, 4 basic layers and then some extra designs like the ice cream cone and Tatum's name. Okay, so you can see each of these is a separate layer. Let me move all that back together. I'm going to put this out of my way so I can show you how I've done it. Okay, so I'm going to group all that back together, kind of shrink it down and move it out of my way just so we can refer back to it and see how everything needs to look. So we're going to start with the 3. I'm going to come over here to my text tool, click that, click my screen, and type in a 3. Then I need to change the font. It was this black fat font. And I want to change the color. Let's see. Somewhere around in here. No. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so there's my 3. I'm going to make that a little bit bigger. And let's see. I need Tatum's name. So again, I'm going to click my text tool, click my screen, and type in Tatum. And that was this Anic font. Okay. And it was pink. So let me scroll over here and get my pink for Tatum. Okay. And now I need the ice cream cone. So I'm going to come to File and I'm going to import the SVG file that I had for the ice cream cone, and that's the one I used. I also got this from Creative Fabrica for free. I get everything for free from Creative Fabrica because I have the membership. But if you don't have the membership, the text manager is still free, and I'm about to show you the text manager. Okay, so you see this Tatum I have here. This M on the end looks a little different, and that's because I used my font manager. I'm over here in Creative Fabrica now in their font cloud. And the font that I want to use was Anic, so let me click into Anic. And I'm going to type Tatum's name. And then I'm going to scroll through all of this. You see all of these characters that are in this font. So these are all just normal. You know, they give you the options for your other languages and stuff, but now these have blue lines around them. That's because these are private use area. These don't show up unless you have a font manager, which is why it's awesome to have a free one. And I'll link to the font manager for Creative Fabrica as well. But here is the M that I wanted to use for Tatum's name. So I'm going to click it, and you'll notice it says that it copied to my clipboard. That means I can copy and paste it in now. If I do this, if I backspace out of that and I paste it, I get my fancy M. And that's exactly what I want to do here. I'm going to double click into my Word. Watch that again. If I just click, I get rotate handles. That's not what I want. I need to double click and then I have my cursor, can delete my M and paste in the fancy M. Okay. Now we're getting somewhere. That needs to be smaller. And obviously I did some work on this ice cream cone. That is not how I wanted it. I will show you how to do that too though. Let's see, the 3 needs to be bigger. I'm just trying to get it to look like that one down there. Okay, so there's our basic. Well, it still needs some work, but we can work on that in a minute. Some things that I want to show you first before we can really progress any further with this. Right now, these elements are text elements. You can see down here it even says text. We have to turn this into a path before we can do anything else. So what we need to do, my word is selected. I'm going to come to Path, Object to Path. Now you see down here I have a group of 5 objects. I don't have text, but I need this to be united. I need it to be one object, not 5. So I'm going to double click and then single click. I know that's a little confusing, but I need to separate each letter. So let me undo all this and show you again. Okay, so here I have text, path, object to path. Okay, it's one word. It's all selected right now. I'm going to double click and then single click. Now I can get each letter individually. There's my T. If I hold down my shift, I can get A, T, U, M. Or if I don't want to do it that way, I can also just drag a box and it will get them all for me. So when they're all highlighted, you have to make sure each one is highlighted. Don't let any of them get left out. Then you can come to Path and Union, and now it's one fluid, solid thing. It's just one path. It's not a group of anything. It's not text. It's just a path, and that's what we need. So I can move it out of the way. I have to do the same with the 3. Path, object to path, but there's nothing to connect. It's just the one letter. It's the one number. It's not, 2 or 3 different numbers. So I don't have to unite anything now. Okay, now I'm going to work on the sizing of everything. That looks pretty similar to what I had over there. Okay, this ice cream cone. Let's fix it. My goodness. I'm going to rotate it to where it's upright again. I mean, there's nothing really wrong with this ice cream cone. I just didn't love it. And it's not what I wanted for my project, but I couldn't find anything that was exactly what I wanted. So I could have designed my own ice cream cone, but I wanted to show you guys how to use existing files and put them in here. Okay, so here's my ice cream cone. I need to ungroup everything that's on here. So Object, Ungroup. Now I can get rid of the cherry, and it's really all I wanted to get rid of. I wanted to make the little waffle pattern the same color as the chocolate. So I've selected the waffle pattern. I'm going to get my eyedropper, and this lets me choose any color that's already on my page. And I want the brown, so I'm just going to click it, and it turns my waffle pattern brown. Now what I need to do is work on this scoop. This is what I did not like. I didn't like all the little tiny ice creams. I wanted bigger ones. So I grab a circle, and nope, I want a circle, not an oval. There we go. And I'm going to put that there. I'm just going to hit Control D to duplicate, and now I have another one. And again, it's looking like those are going to be a little too big. I'm going to shrink them down. Let me delete these two because I want them all to be the same. Okay, Control D, throw one over here. Control D, Control D. Okay. That's looking a little better. And now I'm going to turn all of them brown. By just using my little eyedropper tool. Okay. And I'm just going to kind of move them around a little bit so it looks like the ice cream scoop that I want. And the ice cream scoop I want is not perfect. It's kind of got some here and some there. And Okay, I think that's going to be good. Now you can see if I drag my box around, I've got the main scoop and 4 smaller scoops. I don't want that. I want all of this to be one big thing. I'm going to come to Path and Union. And now it's one big thing. It obviously changed the color again. But it's not a bunch of separate things. It's just one chunk of ice cream now. So let me go turn it brown again. Let's see. Can I get this brown? Yeah. Okay. And now I can put it back over here. I can group this whole thing back together. Control G will group it. And I can put it up here in my project. Okay, that looks about right. So we've got our main thing now. We have our 3, we have Tatum, and we have the ice cream cone. We have turned the 3 and Tatum into a path. The ice cream cone is already a path because it was an SVG file to begin with, and those are just automatically paths. Okay, we're getting somewhere. We've got our basic design, but right now this is just a flat, plain cake topper. We want a 3D cake topper, so we need layers. Let's start building them. So, to get our layers, we need to connect all of this into one chunk. Let me show you what I mean. Let me ungroup this guy over here. And if I pull off just the back layer, you can see how everything in this design is kind of one big solid chunk. And that's what we need to glue or tape or stick everything to. This is going to be our base. This is what the stick of the cake topper is going to be on. So it's got to be the main chunk. We need it to be our biggest section. And then we need, you can decide how many layers you want. Mine is basically 4. I have the bottom, sublayer, sublayer, top layer. And as we create this design, we're going to go from top layer down to bottom layer. It's important that you do it that way so that you can make each one a little bigger than the last. Okay, so you can see for Tatum, I have a purple setting behind her name. So let me go ahead and get that. Here is Tatum's name, and if I want this shadow, I need to create an offset. So with Tatum selected, I'm going to come to Path, Linked Offset. Now look at my cursor, it changed. It's this little skinny arrow now. And if I bring it over here to Tatum's name, you can see, hold on, I just got out of what I was doing. You can see this red stuff start to appear. And you can see I have a diamond up here. I'm going to hold Control, and I'm going to hit my right parenthesis. And it is, see how it's making her name chunky? That's creating my shadow. That's probably more than I need. Okay, so I've got 2 things here. You just can't see it. I've got, I had to ungroup it, sorry. I've got Tatum's name. There it is. I promise it's there. And then I've got the shadow layer for Tatum. This is the one we're going to turn purple. And her name is going to sit on top like this. But I want it filled in. You see how right now there's still a few little gaps, and I want that gap in between the T's filled in. So I'm going to select my shadow layer for Tatum. And I'm going to Object, sorry, I'm going to Path, and I'm going to break it apart. And what this does is pull out every little space, every little extra space that's going to be cut. It pulls it out. And then I'm going to just unite it all together. Path Union. And now they all filled in. So if I stick Taya, or Tatum, Taya is Tatum's sister. Aren't those cute names? Okay. So if I stick Tatum on top of the purple, I now have it looking exactly like that. I can group it together. I can move it up here, and you can see that this is starting to look a little more like my cake topper now. Okay, but I'm nowhere near done. That's just the background for Tatum. Now I need to get the background. Let me enlarge this. See, there is a little bit of a background for this ice cream cone. I need to come get that now. If you're wondering how I just did that to enlarge my screen, I just hit the plus sign on my computer to make it bigger and the minus sign to make it smaller. It's pretty cool. Okay, so here's my ice cream cone. I need to duplicate this because I don't want to lose any of my details when I am meshing everything together, and that's going to make more sense in a minute. So Control D, duplicated my ice cream cone. This is the one I'm going to save for my project. This is the one I'm going to work on right now. Let me bring it down here where all you can see is my ice cream cone. Okay. Ungroup everything because I don't need the waffles. I don't need the sprinkles, and I don't need this strawberry part on the top. Get rid of all that. I just need these two layers to make my shadow. When you do a linked offset, you can only have one object to link. So I have to turn this into one object. Do y'all remember how we do that? We select both, path, union. Now it's one. Okay? So now we can do our offset. Path, linked offset. See, I've got my diamond and I've got my little red outline. 1, 2, 3. That should be enough. Okay. And I move my smaller one off of my big one. And see, that one is the smaller one. If I put it back on, you can see it's got its outline now. And I don't need that anymore. I was just trying to get this outline here. Let me turn it this color. So I'm going to get my dropper. There we go. So now you see, oh, I want to move both of those. There we go. And this guy, I want him to go down. This is my up and down. I want him down there. Okay. So you see, we're getting there. I can take the rest of my ice cream and I can put it back in there, move it down. And this is just for visual so y'all can see that we are getting our layers in there now. But we are not done. So I'm going to start pulling all this apart again. Okay. So now, to get this thing, I need to make an outline of these three objects together. I can move this out actually. I need to make an outline of these three objects together to get this big base here. Let's see, I think that was more down here. It's hard to tell exactly where it was. How does that look? That looks pretty good. Let me move it over a smidge. It's important that you get it where you want it at this point because once you do it, once you make your outline, it is where it is. You can't move it. And I think the ice cream needs to move over there. Okay, yeah, that looks pretty good. So Tatum is done. I don't need to mess with that anymore at all. She's a done deal, and my ice cream cone is a done deal. I'm going to need this 3 again, so I'm going to make a copy of it. Control D. And just in case I mess anything up, I'm making a copy of everything. It's always a good idea to do that because you might find that you've welded two things together that you didn't intend on welding together, and then you need to go back and undo what you did. And it's not always that easy to go back 20 steps. You can just come down to the copies that you've made and you can start over. Okay, we're going to weld this together so that we can make a big old background. And take my 3, my ice cream cone, path, combine. All right. Now I'm going to take this and the word Tatum, path, combine. Okay. Yay! So I have everything all combined. I can start creating my background layers. I hope this is not too confusing. This is a detailed process here. Okay, so to create these 3 background layers, 1, 2, 3, I need to do that linked offset 3 times. Here's my base. And remember we said we're going to go littlest to biggest. So I'm going to do my littlest one first. I'm going to select this, path, linked offset, control 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 maybe. Okay, and then I want to fill in these little gaps in here. So and get rid of, this was what I started with, I don't need it. I'm going to break apart to highlight my little gaps and union to fill them in. Okay, so this is now what's going to be that pink layer. Let me turn it pink, and you can see the 3 is going to set on top of it like this. Okay, but now I need this tannish layer. So I'm going to do the linked offset again, path, linked offset, 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoops. Okay. Pull it off. That's still my pink one. This one's going to be my tan one now. Tan. Okay. And now I need my gray. So you can see I've got the pink and the tan. And now I need the gray. So path, linked offset, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It needs to be pretty big. Let me see if that's going to be big enough. Yeah, that should be big enough. Okay, but I don't want these spaces in here, so what do I do? Path, break apart, path, union. And then I want to turn it gray. Okay, now I have all my layers. I have the big main base layer that I'm going to attach everything to and that my sticks are going to go on. And then I have this brown layer, and I have my pink layer, and I have my blue layer, and my purple layer, and Tatum's name. I'm going to rise that up. And the sublayer for my ice cream cone, and my actual ice cream cone, rise that up. Actually, let me lower this because I want it to be underneath the purple. Okay, and then stick that on there, lower that. There it is. I just recreated this guy that we had. Let's put him all back together. There you go. And that's how you do it. So just the overview, the gist of what we did. We took our main design, our 3, our Tatum, and our ice cream cone, and we created linked offsets for each portion until we got as many layers as we wanted. And you didn't have to do as many layers as I did here. You could have made it 3 layers, or you could have made it more layers, and that's just what I chose to do. The important thing is your base layer, this gray one here, needs to be a big solid chunk. This right here would not be a good base layer because this is not filled in and this is not filled in. You want a solid with no gaps, no holes, big chunk for your base layer. All right, if you want to see how I put all of this together, I have another video showing you how it all came together. That's all we have for this time. Thanks, guys.